The reason why, let me just be very vulnerable, and at this point, Circle Party just gave me so much anxiety.
Even if they've worked all year to get a hot body or something like that, sometimes it's not enough. Sometimes they're still not invited. You know, avoiding it solves it, yes, but the true problem lies deeper.
Hi, Tokyo Tops. Welcome back. Why?
It's your topic today.
It's my topic today. Okay, I actually think I'm gonna blindside you because you guys know I have been super sick for the previous 2 months, and I had a lot of time to like reflect on myself, and this keyword of like getting sick and disease is very like sensitive to me right now. Like even now, like I have fear that like the inflammation on my face is gonna come back. I think I'm getting into this state of like having a more fear regarding getting sick. And you do know that before I talk about how I like started to not liking sex because every single time I have some fun, there's some like aftermath I have to deal with. Usually it's some STDs or STIs. Like right now, I'm like, should I just like stop doing the same lifestyle I used to have? And then I just like start into this like rabbit hole and like thinking about circle parties and everything because I have already confessed that like I'm no longer interested in circle parties to you many times. Although I'm very like I'm saying it half joking because I'm very weak. I do want to hang out with my friends. So if all my friends want to go, like I'll be like, oh, sure, like let's go, like let's do it one more time. I may want to change that. The reason why, let me just be very vulnerable and very honest today. I feel like I have this persona that I always want to be strong. And if there's something, I always like brush it off, being like, I'm okay, like this is nothing. And I just don't think in a long run, like it's very good for me because I do have a lot of feelings. There's one thing I'm always kind of getting the ick at circle party is I don't know how to navigate my feelings a lot. For example, I talked to you before, like if there are a couple of guys I showed interest to before and where we had a moment in the previous circle parties, I think a lot of people like don't treat it as a big issue. They'll be like, yeah, that's fine. That's just like the culture and we all play together. We all fool around. But like, it's very tough for me. And I don't know, sometimes I don't know how to act in front of those people because I still have very strong feeling about them. But maybe sometimes they don't have the same feeling for me. And I just feel very sad if I don't connect to them the same way as I did it before. I don't want to blame circle parties like shallow, whatever, but it's just like not for me because I just feel very sad every single time. I do have lots of desire and I do have a lot of, I want a lot of attention too, right? Then if I am with another guy and I just keep thinking about what if the person I had a thing with saw me having fun with another person, that person may or may not get, you know, how do you say, get hurt, whatever, who are jealous, whatever. Maybe they don't give a fuck. I think a lot of people at the circle party don't give a fuck. But it's always in my mind being like, I just don't want them to see it.
But I also think maybe part of that is you don't want them to see it because you wouldn't want to see it. Flipped.
Yes, I think I'm not being super honest with myself. The usual me will be like, if I see it, like, no big of deal. But that's kind of like not what I truly feel.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I think I've said to you before, I think a lot of the things that you say don't necessarily match from what I think you feel. I think one of the struggles you're having is because you're pretending like you don't care, but you do care. And so when things happen to you, then I know that you're like, you're not trying to blame circle parties, but I think in the end it does. You do blame circle parties because you're going there with an expectation, but showing a different expectation, then things are not matching, then you're getting disappointed. And all your disappointment surrounds circle party. I feel like if you started going, for sure, I would say 80-90% of the people probably do just want to fuck around. But you always hear things about circle party boyfriends. Do you remember meeting...
Probably, yes.
There were 3 guys. There were like 3 guys that we met in the pool who were like really kind or whatever, right?
Yes,
and then I think we saw them later in a bunch of times. He's from Vancouver, and then the other one's from LA.
Yeah.
They met at White Party, I believe, or at Circuit Party, and now they're dating. And that when they met, they navigated White Party from the get-go as like Circuit Party boyfriends, and then it went beyond that. How I think we've met people on the cruise who have also been like, oh yeah, we met at Circuit Party, now we date. So I believe it's possible, but I think you have to show up like that, because you have not show up being like, I'm looking for a relationship, not that, but show up with, you have to match your expectations and your feelings to how you're feeling.
At this point, Circuit Party just gave me so much anxiety. Even after so many years of participation, and I still don't know how to navigate the scene.
I mean, okay, what I'm hearing, I think, is that it's almost like you have too many choices at once. And it's
not
hard
choices.
Well, yeah.
I have too much
choice.
Burden.
Choice. Oh, if you want to call it burden, fine. And it's hard to make a choice because you don't have enough time to dedicate to each one to figure out which one is actually worth pursuing.
But also, they may not feel the same.
But that's what I'm saying. You don't have enough time to figure that out. So you meet someone and you're like, this guy's cool, I'd like to explore, but I don't know if they feel the same. Meanwhile, this guy's over here is cool, I'd like to explore that. I don't know if they feel the same. If I explore with this guy, I might be ruining this one. But this guy actually might not even want to be with me anyway, so I should probably go with him. But what if I go with him and it's actually this guy?
Okay.
That's probably
I don't think my mind was that clear during that moment. I didn't think like
because
maybe
you still have
ABCD,
this, because you're like, oh, I don't want to do anything with this guy because this guy might see. I think it's a fair assessment that so many things are happening at once that it's hard for you to really dedicate any good amount of time and focus on one person, because it's all going around you and stressful.
But
and
you have
knowing.
you have to understand that's not like A or B. It's really at the
like
moment with A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Yeah, sure.
I feel so
get
awkward.
That. Yeah, sure. I get that.
Do you not feel awkward when that situation happens? I just feel like super awkward. And I know a lot of circuit gays don't feel awkward at all, being like, but I just don't know how to do that.
I would say the solution is not then to avoid circuit parties, because you're avoiding the problem. You're not doing anything for the problem.
But
it's avoiding it.
No, I'm just realizing maybe it's not for me.
Sure, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
But I would also encourage you to think that maybe I can approach it in a different way before deciding that circuit parties as a whole is not. Like, next time you go, to be like, yeah, you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Make a decision.
But then, which means I may hurt other people. You know, that's
not your responsibility.
I know, but then that's part of my nature, because I just care too much.
That's part of the work. I'm not saying don't be a bitch to people. Don't be like, fuck you, G. And I'm not seeing you anymore, E, because I love B over here. That's all I'm saying.
I also don't have a clear ranking of that.
You might disappoint someone, and that sucks.
And I don't like that.
I don't like that. And I don't like that either. But I think that there are ways to navigate it that's not malicious in intent. And if it upsets someone in the end, that is unfortunate. But you already know that the way that you're doing it is not really working for you. And again, if it's not malicious, like, you know, if you're not actively trying to be mean to someone, if someone then ends up getting disappointed by it, I don't think you're necessarily responsible for their disappointment. And that's something that you need to deal with on your own.
Yeah, I know that. But so that's why I'm saying,
doing
like,
is you're just giving everything up.
No. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like a lot of people like you can do that. Like, after participating for almost 10 years, I'm still like super anxious regarding this issue. Like, every single time.
No. I disappoint people, and people disappoint me at circuit parties all the time.
Then I can't not brush it off super easily, you know, being like, okay, sure, fine, like, let's move on, like, life goes on. Like, it's very hard for me.
That is also
it hurts me a lot.
Sure, and that's also how you start developing feelings or a relationship with someone, because I'm sure when you got hurt by something, you just go, oh, fine, fuck you, C. And then you just disappear.
Do you think that's me?
Yeah, I think you then disappear. And well, also then you put up, that's also the thing that we're talking about at the start, you put up the wall being like, I don't care. So of course C's not gonna know, because you're like, YOLO, it's all good. You know, you're dancing in the corner, like, no, go make out with that person, I don't care. Inside, you're like, ooh. that's not fair to see either because they actually don't know what's going on. And then you come home from the circle party and you're like, she didn't like me.
A lot of people thinking circuit party that you shouldn't care. If you care, like you're the loser. Like you're.
I do think we make fun of you. Like I think what we were saying, like don't fall in love on the cruise and stuff like that. I think there has to be some expectations there built up so that you don't get overly disappointed. Having said that, I think that there are examples of it working out. So I'm not saying give it all up, but more like go in with the understanding that, yeah, maybe I'm not the normal one at cruise parties. I'm the one looking for a circuit party boyfriend.
I don't think I'm actively looking for a boyfriend or something.
Circuit party boyfriend.
Circuit party. I don't think even I'm looking for that. I'm just like so much emotional, and I get very easily disappointed. I just care too much. You know what I mean?
But why, if you're not looking for a circuit party boyfriend, what about it is? Because circuit party boyfriend to me doesn't sound like forever. It sounds like a day or two. But if you're not even looking for that,
Yeah.
right, then you're getting disappointed. I don't understand what you're looking for.
Well, because like then connections sometimes happen, and because I do have a lot of desire, and if that happens, on the dance floor, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm zenning, like I'm here just to dance. Like yes, well, here is the thing, like I want to talk about it because now I prefer to go to. I talk to you about it, like go to raving event and festival because it's less about sex and body and look. Circuit party is a very condensed version of it. Everyone's naked, like everyone's like they have their shirt off. And I do have a lot of desire over there. Like sometimes I see hot guys, I'm not gonna pretending that I'm not interested at all. And when the eyes like are matched, things happened, like I do have desire, so I don't want to act like I'm like out of it. I'm like better than this or whatever. Then I get disappointed every single time. Not disappointed. Sometimes I don't want to get hurt, and I just like extract myself out of it very quickly. Just don't to like act cool. Like I don't fucking care. Like that's fine. Like, and I'm so tired of it. Honestly, I just feel like.
So there are two.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I get that. It's tiring to not live authentically in a way, right?
Yeah.
And so you have two options, and I think you're pursuing the avoidance option. And I understand that. And I think that's a lot. I think when we've talked to other friends and stuff like that in the circuit scene for many years, we have friends who will try and work out. Some people will do steroids. Some people will. It's all about this because they want to show up feeling sexy. They don't want to be ignored.
Yeah.
And then when they are ignored, even if they've worked all year to get a hot body or something like that, sometimes it's not enough. Sometimes they're still not invited. It really beats you down and takes a toll on your confidence. And so I actually really understand what you're talking about being like, well, if I'm not in that scene, I can avoid all these negative feelings. Avoiding it solves it, yes, but the true problem lies deeper. And as long as you don't like deal with those feelings that you have surrounding your confidence, surrounding your feelings, surrounding all of that, it will show up in another way. It's just not going to be at a circuit party. While you're doing it at a straight techno party, you can kind of ignore it for now, but it's still living there, and it still will be triggered at some point because you're not dealing with it, right? I think you should just show up and be like, yeah, I'm here to find my circuit boyfriend.
I'm not there to find my circuit boyfriend.
Because you're there to find a connection, and you're there not to find a connection for one night. I think that's pretty clear. You're there to find a connection for a couple of nights while you're there and see where it goes.
I think deeply I want to find a good connection.
Okay.
But at the same time, finding good connection as the circuit party is being made fun of. Why are you looking for a boyfriend at the circuit party like that? You're dumb, like you're stupid. And it's there. Can we not say?
And I'm saying, that's why I said I'll probably be the one also making fun of you a little bit, but only like in a very light, like friendly sort of jesting way. I'll probably just feel like, oh, like good luck finding, you know what I mean? But I'll support you, and other people might make fun of you, sure. But again, I just introduced a little bit ago in this video, couples that have happened, long distance couples. That's a lot of dedication that started from a circuit party. But I imagine they became close pretty early because they didn't have that wall. And you go into it with that wall. So that's why I'm trying to say, encouraging you to take down the wall and see what happens. Maybe you will get made fun of, and maybe taking down the wall won't actually help. But that's one thing that you haven't done yet. When we went in last December, I wasn't surprised by you, but I was thinking, oh, there's Meng hiding his feelings again. Because you were the whole time like very over the top. I don't care, YOLO, whatever, I'm here, like just to party. You were very much like that. And I'm guessing that's because the year before you were quite disappointed. But I remember every time looking at it and things happening, you were just like, whatever, whatever, whatever. And it's not even that people were disappointing you at that moment. It's that any sort of anything happening, like, oh, Meng, you should go, you know, you whatever, whatever. Like, you didn't even start anything. And you're like, I'm just here for fun. I'm just here for the music, guys. And I'm like, liar. But I wasn't going to have, you know, a super deep
I'm not there for the music. The music is so bad, okay? It's not my type of music anyway. Okay, I have a second point. Can we go to the second point?
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I know it's a little bit disconnected. I was also thinking about Hatemba a little bit because it's also related to sex. And because I'm so avoidant at the moment, also like not able to connect with people at the deeper level. Is it because like those kind of like going to Hatemba and getting instant gratification, right? Gratification. Sometimes I even prefer Hatemba better than Grindr right now because it's
very fast.
You can skip the talking, you can skip even more. You just there and fuck and you're released and you come out. And a couple years ago, I would say like when I first met you, I had more guilt regarding having sex. Because every time I have a little fun or I have hook up with someone, I instantly feel like so guilty and feeling like blame myself for filling the void because I want something more and that's not given. Maybe I'm still the same person. I'm just like more experienced. I feel like even over the years of like partying and having sex and hooking up, I'm probably still the same person. You know, my two months of like getting sick, I'm kind of like, should I just like extend it and having a period of time just really detox myself from those kind of instant gratification and going to toxic environment?
I don't think what you're saying or your idea, your plan is wrong. I think it could really help you. But I also think that avoiding these toxic environments is only a Band-Aid until you start digging deeper, reflecting inwards more deeply. And at some point, even if you detox, then you'll be like, oh, I feel great. Okay, cool. Now I'm ready. You go back into the world's still going to be the same. Unless in that time, not only did you detox, unless in that time you also did inner work. Then if you've done some inner work, going back into the world, I think it'll feel different. But the world's not going to change after you've detoxed. I also think it's really interesting because I swear over the last like year or something like that, you've been very like, I'm so happy single. I don't need anyone. We did a video of like why you're single or whatever, and you're just like, can't we just be happy with being single? I don't need it.
I am
right. Yeah.
I am happy. I don't want to say I'm not happy, but I just feel like I should start facing my truth.
Yes.
In general, I'm a very sensitive person, and I have my emotions like a tornado inside, but I try to pretend like I don't care. Like I see any emotion as weakness.
Yes. And I think that's very, very true for you. Yes.
So I just feel like I should drop it.
I agree. But you're
I should drop it.
You're confusing dropping your walls with Circuit Party and Hatemba. Those are different. They're slightly connected.
Yeah.
They're slightly connected. But I think you're thinking the only way to partake in Hatemba, the only way to partake in Circuit is if I have a wall. That's why I'm trying to encourage you to say that's not true. Take down your wall, go to Circuit parties, get disappointed and hurt, cry in the corner, we'll come and like hang out with you.
It doesn't seem fun.
I can see a benefit in you taking a break and recalibrating and all that. So I'm not trying to like force you into it. I'm just trying to say that I can see other things. I believe I see other things here happening. Because it sounds like, to me, like someone who just got broken up with and they're very sad and they're like, I don't want to date again. I don't want to put myself out there. I don't want to have my feelings out there. I don't want to be hurt.
Yeah,
right? This is the same conversation, just in a different, you know, Yes, take time, start reading, do some personal reflection, take up a hobby, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do all that stuff, but like, see how you feel, like keep it open and stuff like that. Like I feel you will get back up, on the horse at some point, and I will encourage you to, keep doing that instead of fully avoiding the situation. It doesn't have to be anything even circuit party related. The next thing you face it with, try facing without the wall, and like slowly, step by step, I think that will help you in the long run.
Yeah. Maybe the mission of this year is to breaking down the wall.
Yeah. I think that'd be great. I think,
Yeah, I'm tired of like act that I don't care because I care too much.
Yeah.
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 There's part of me like I just hate myself being so emotional. And I feel like I don't act that way, but I'm like a very, very emotional person. What do you feel about, what's your impression on me? But I'm being emotional. I just put on a wall.
Yes. Strangers probably look at you as like cold and like a bitch almost at times.
Oh my God, really?
like a resting bitch face is my image of you for other people who don't know any better. Because they'll say hi and you're like, this and that.
I say hi.
Or sometimes you say hi, but then you're aloof. You're not really partaking in things. You disappear, run back and forth to things. The better word would be, it makes it sound like you're disinterested. I think people want to get to know you. I think people like you, but I think people then do run into like a wall. And they might interpret that as, you just not caring or whatever. That's why I said even earlier, I think I see you differently. That's why when I saw you in this white party in particular, I felt you were mismatched, your behavior versus what I believe you feel. But I wish you health and happiness, and let me know if there's anything you need.
I did buy the circuit party tickets to Okinawa, so
okay,
so like
it's Okinawa. Okay.
poker face. Right?
Yeah, and you'll be there in Argartha, I'm sure, in June.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, so I think it's try it.
Try it to be authentic to myself, right?
See what happens.
Yeah.